plagiarism is a big risk for new students. It really just means using other people's ideas or published work and not including the name of the person who wrote the words, the idea, and the date and other information about the publication you've used. It is a little bit complicated to learn how to reference articles from the newspaper, television news reports, books that you read, but again the LSU will help you, and if you learn that, it might take you half an hour or an hour to learn how to do that. If you learn that, you can use that for the rest of your life, and you can make sure that you're always writing appropriately using the words of other people.
Plagiarism is taking someone else's work and passing it off as your own, and it's the worst thing you can do in a course of university study. And it means you need to understand, if you're taking someone else's work, you need to reference that properly, you need to understand how to reference it properly. Your lecturer needs to be able to find where you've got that information from so they can go and source it. And it's I think for myself, the most important thing I learned in the first couple of weeks that I studied, we had a session from the LSU, and that was the thing that probably I worried about the most, and that's an important session to attend because they tell you what you need to do. And again, if you're unsure of anything before you submit an assignment, go and ask someone, get them to check, because other people will know if there's plagiarised work in there.
Well, within the university context, plagiarism means basically cheating. It means really stealing someone else's information but pretending it's yours. It's come into your brain, you wrote it down, you didn't tell anyone that it really weren't, they really weren't your ideas or your words. In fact, plagiarism could also be the actual copying from one student's assignment to another student's assignment. That could be detected. Or in some cases, getting someone else to complete the assignment and not really doing the work themselves. All of those things are, in a sense, another word for plagiarism is stealing or cheating.
Yeah, plagiarism is anything which is copyrighted. If you refer to it, or if you got some idea from it, or if you pick up a quote from it to your work, you must mention it. Otherwise, you will get into trouble. So, because it's not your work, it's another person's work, so you must mention it. And in an example, for an example, if I'm doing a report, if I mention something which is from another book, we have a chance to put it in a reference list. So we can put the author and the book. We got that detail in the reference list. So yeah.
Learning and assessment, particularly when you first enrol and you get given all this pack of information and you've got all your textbooks and you open the pages and this big list of assessments that you've got to do, and it can be quite scary to start with, but your lecturers will tell you what's expected from you, and it's very important to use the learning support unit as well. The guys that are in there will give you the most help possible and set you in the right direction and help you to understand, and ask other students as well, because other students may have a different understanding of a topic or an assignment than what you've got, and if you all work together you'll find the right solutions and be able to come up with the best piece of work.
To give them some advice about how to get good grades, what would you suggest?
The main secret for me is to pass the assignment.
Mm-hmm.
Pass the assignment well. It will lift your morale, and it will give you a lot of confidence. If you pass the assignment well, if you get more than 75% for the assignment, and you don't have to be worried about the exam.
I research in a number of ways. The library at uni is a fantastic place to start. There's people on hand, there's enough resources in there to be able to set you in the right direction. And then, as well as that, the online systems as well, and they allow you to be at home. You can go through thousands and thousands of documents and articles. It's good as well, I would say, for research purposes to sign up at some other libraries in the area as well, because they'll often have different things that can be of use to a different assignment, that will show your willingness to get other things that perhaps other students haven't got, and if you can do that, you're on the way to getting higher marks as well.
I would think the big thing is in law there's quite a bit of reading, and you'll have to read things with conflicting ideas, and sometimes we give you a topic that's got conflicting things, and you have to realise there isn't a winner and there isn't one. It's sometimes your response and your marks depend upon how you do a reasoned argument. You don't have to come up with the winning one the teacher wants. You don't have to repeat back what the teacher wants or what authorities want. We want to see a nice argument sometimes. We do want you to get to the crux of the problem. Some students get distracted and don't answer the crux of the question. And sometimes that's because they were too afraid to ask the teacher in a tutorial about that. And sometimes they've really got to ask, what is this question about? Or what is the crux? You will need to read a lot. I think the most important thing is you need to start, especially on assignments and that, in week 1, 2 and 3. A lot of these things can't be done the week before.
And then of course if there are exams involved in a particular course, they need to be working towards that. And one of the things is that if there is a lot of reading in the course, they need to maintain the pace of reading. Because if they get 2 or 3 weeks behind in their reading, the likelihood is they'll never catch up by the time exam time comes around. So keeping up with the reading week by week for the topics that they need to be looking at is very important. If they've done that, then it's a lot easier as exam time comes up to go back and quickly reread their notes, revisit perhaps the text for issues that they haven't really understood properly. And if they do that, and if they've managed to get a good mark for their assignments, they're going to go into exams with a much higher level of confidence. And there's nothing like going into an exam with confidence to achieve good outcomes at the end.
Is the fact that we also help students with their exam preparation. You probably can see that, but we talk about the timing of the exam. You know, you've got 2 hours. How did you plan your 10 minutes to read and then 20 minutes for one answer? Don't spend all your time on the short answer questions. Go for the big ones that get the most marks. Think it through. Write some dot points in your planning, but plan in advance. Look at former exam questions and so on. Because part of nearly every course, not all of the courses, but part of nearly every course, some up to 70% of a course, is writing an exam with a pen. And so even basic things like good, clear handwriting, calligraphy, is important so that the student is communicating effectively. And we run little workshops towards the end of term about exam preparation, and we certainly have 3 handouts to help students who might be thinking that through, because some students go blocked, oh, exams, horrible things, but in fact there are time to show off if you've been a good student, you've read your work every week, you've kept up with your good time management, you've succeeded in your assignment, they should be able to strut their stuff and do really well in their written work and their assignment. But some try to cram, and some find it difficult that when they're reading the exam questions, they think, oh, I don't understand. We teach them, find the key words. What is this really about? Don't answer the question in the incorrect way. Make sure you know what, in other words, prepare your answer before you put pen to paper.
What I do is before about 2-3 weeks, I just take days off from my work. Before I have to get ready for the exam. It's worth money, you know. We had to pass the exams, not really pass the exam. If you want to get some good grades, you have to study hard.
Because in our culture, normally students, they just only focus on their studies, they never work.
Mm-hmm.
But here you have to work, you have to manage your life socially as well as your home chores, and as well as you have to manage your exams, assignments and all those things. So it's pretty much management involved in all those things, and that's not common in our country. So that's a big challenge everyone faces when someone come over here.